Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Athletic School Podcast. The goal here is to help you become not only a better athlete, but a better human being. Because I truly believe that if you become a better human being, you will become a better athlete automatically. But if you turn the things around, trust me, it's gonna get to one point in your life that you won't be an athlete anymore, and that's going to be your only identity. And whenever you are not playing anymore, you're going to feel lost. So let's dive into this episode because I feel like some athletes, they are physically prepared, they are talented, they are disciplined, but they still feel pressure all the time because they overthink, they doubt themselves after every single mistake, they feel lost when the results are not going their way. And a lot of times, the problem is not about effort. The problem, it's a disconnection. Creating the athletic school has been a long journey. Reaching 100 episodes has taken consistency, grit, and a lot of passion. Having incredible guests share their story has been a true pleasure. But now, I want to ask you for your help. If you haven't already, please follow the show on whatever platform you're listening from. It really helps me a lot. And I promise you this, I'll continue to bring on the best guest speakers I can, and I'll do my very best to share content that helps you grow, not just as an athlete, but as a person on and off the field. I will study, I will read, and research relentlessly for ways to help you, and I'll share everything I learn right here. Disconnection from themselves, disconnection from their identity, disconnection from the mindset that allows them to perform freely. I was reading a book called The Aristotle Guide to Self-Persuasion. And one of the biggest ideas of the book was that the most powerful persuasion comes from identity. It's not about motivation, it's not about the hype, it's about identity. Because every athlete is constantly persuading themselves of something. Some athletes persuade themselves saying, I'm not good enough, I can't fail, I always mess up in big moments, I need approval to feel valuable. Trust me, sometimes you don't even say those things out loud, but unconsciously, that's where your mind is at. And other people persuade themselves, I can adapt, I trust myself, one moment does not define me, and eventually, performance follows identity. Because athletes spend years training their bodies, but very few train the relationship that they have with themselves. A lot of athletes build their identity around the performance that they will have. And if they play well, they will feel confident. If they struggle, they question themselves completely. But that creates a dangerous cycle, a dangerous snowball method, because when identity depends on performance, every game. This episode is sponsored by CaliforniaAvocadosDirect.com, delivering rich, creamy, hand-picked avocados straight from a family farm in Escondido, California, to your door. No middleman, no mass storage, just farm-fresh quality you can taste and trust. Packed with healthy fats, potassium, and fiber, it's the kind of real fuel high performance need, whether you're grinding on the field or recovering from it. Use the code The Athletic School for 10% off of your first box at CaliforniaAvocadosDirect.com. Feels like survival. Another lesson from the book that stood out to me is that the difference between wants and the true needs. Athletes often they will want recognition, playing time, maybe followers, contracts, praise, even good results. But deeper down, what many athletes actually need is clarity, peace, purpose, freedom, and connection. And sometimes athletes achieve exactly what they wanted and they still feel empty. There's plenty of stories in the big stages where they win a Super Bowl, they get their ring, but they still feel empty because they're chasing the validation instead of the alignment. And that's why so many athletes feel lost during transitions. When you have an injury, when you're getting benched, when you're going to retire, when you transfer school, when you lose your confidence, you simply lose the love for the sport. Because eventually they realize that I know how to perform, but I don't really know who I am. Another powerful idea from the book is that one mistake, it's not your identity. Athletes are hard on themselves, and sure, that's okay. But one bad game, one missed shot, one mistake, and suddenly we create an entire identity around that moment. But mistakes are temporary, they're not proof of who we are. And if failure destroys your identity, then your identity was built only on performance. And that's why awareness matters so much, because repeated actions becomes identity. Confidence is not something that magically appears before big moments. Confidence, it's accumulated evidence. The early mornings, the difficult workouts, the discipline, the moment where nobody was watching. Habits turn extreme into norms. And eventually, the things that once felt difficult become part of who you are. One of my favorite ideas from the book was that pressure, it's often an interpretation. Athletes treat mistakes, games, criticism, and uncertainty like survival threats. But most pressure, it's internal. It has a meaning that you gave it to it. Your nervous system reacts automatically, but your awareness decides what pressure means. And that changes everything because now pressure is not the enemy anymore. Disconnection is. The disconnected athlete performs to prove something. The connected athlete performs to express who they are. That's a completely different energy. And I think that's the real battle for most of us. Not just becoming better performers, but becoming people who can handle pressure, uncertainty, setbacks, but also success, transitions without losing who we truly are. I want to leave you a few tools. It's not about just think positive, but I'll give you real tools that can help you reconnect with yourself as an athlete. Because the truth is, a lot of athletes are not physically exhausted, they are mentally disconnected. Disconnected from confidence, disconnected from clarity, disconnected from purpose, disconnected from themselves. And when that happens, pressure becomes heavier than it needs to be. So if this feels like you, I want you to take this seriously this week. Don't just listen to these tools, but practice them. The first tool is called the mirror question. After training, after games, after difficult moments, ask yourself, if performance disappeared tomorrow, who would I still be? And meditate on that. Because a lot of athletes have spent so many years becoming performers that they never became aware of themselves outside of the sport. Without the results, without the validation, without the praise, who are you? Are you disciplined? Are you resilient? Are you present? Are you self aware? Or do you only feel valuable when things are going well? The second tool is called Catch the Story. Throughout the day, your mind is constantly telling stories. After a mistake, you think that you mess up. After pressure, you think that you might not be the right person for it. After criticism, you feel like you're falling behind. But those are not facts, they are interpretations. And if you repeat them enough, they become part of your identity. So this week, observe the story you automatically tell yourself after these difficult moments, not changing immediately, just catching it, because you cannot change a mindset, you are unconscious of it. Therefore, you have to become conscious of it first. The third tool, it's separate the event from the identity. One bad game is an event, one mistake is an event, one difficult season is an event. It's not your identity. So change your language. Instead of I'm mentally weak, say I reacted poorly in that moment. Instead of thinking that you lost confidence, just tell yourself that you're rebuilding trust with yourself. Because repeated language becomes self image. The fourth tool, future self rehearsal. Most athletes mentally rehearse fear all day, fear of embarrassment, fear of failure, fear of judgment, but your mind follows what it repeatedly repeatedly pictures. So before bed this week, spend 2 minutes visualizing yourself. You can listen to some music, but just before going to bed, just close your eyes and visualize yourself calm under pressure, present, disciplined, confident, free, connected, unstoppable. And think about how does it feel when you are that person. Not about just performing well, but become the person you want to become. And the fifth tool, on one hard thing daily. Every day, choose one uncomfortable thing intentionally. It could be a cold shower, it could be an extra recovery work, journaling, be honest and journaling, a difficult conversation, the extra run, the early morning, because ownership grows when you stop negotiating with discomfort constantly. And eventually your mind gathers evidence. I can trust myself. That's where real confidence comes from. Not motivation, evidence. And the last thing I want to leave you with is this: pressure is not always the enemy. Sometimes pressure is just revealing the relationship you have with yourself. The athletes who perform freely are usually not the athletes with perfect lives. They are athletes who learn how to stay connected to themselves in difficult moments. And that's a real skill. It's not avoiding pressure, not avoiding failure, not avoiding uncertainty, but learning on how to remain grounded through all of it. Because eventually the sport changes, roles change, teams change, bodies change, opportunities change, but the relationship you have with yourself stays. So stop asking only how can I perform better, and start asking how can I become more connected to myself, because eventually your mindset becomes your identity and your identity becomes your life. So win the mental battle first. I'll see you guys next time. Caralho, isso foi bom.